Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today I am making a refreshing Italian dessert inspired by a Japanese milk pudding, which I absolutely love how beautifully it was presented. This is my version and I call it a Keto Panna Cotta cake. The macronutrient ratio for this recipe is 12.1 to 1 with 3.5 grams of total carbs, 0.2 grams of dietary fiber, resulting in 3.3 grams of net carbs per serving. Since knowing your keto macros requires accurate measurements, begin by assembling everything and weighing them out accurately. Next, into a medium saucepan, pour the cream, almond milk, add the sweetener, a pinch of salt, the vanilla, and 3 or 4 ribbons of lemon rinds. Then before starting the panna cotta, prepare your gelatin by sprinkling the gelatin powder into a cup of cold water, stirring well and setting aside to allow the gelatin to bloom for at least 10 minutes. Place your pot on the stovetop over medium-low heat. As this cooks, continuously stir the cream mixture to dissolve the sweetener, and continue cooking until the mixture has a very gentle simmer around the edge of the pot. Once the cream is simmering and you see small bubbles around the edge of the pot, turn off the heat and add the bloomed gelatin. Next, add the tablespoon of lemon juice and whisk well. If you want to enhance the lemon flavor, you can also add a bit of lemon concentrate to this, but always remember to stir well to incorporate everything into the cream. The reason to add lemon extract as opposed to fresh lemon juice is because you don't want to increase the liquid volume to the panna cotta because that will affect how it solidifies, and the panna cotta may not set well for you. After everything is cooked and well blended, strain this mixture through a fine mesh sieve and set the bowl aside so everything can cool to room temperature. Now for the creative part. Get several strawberries and try to make them about the same size as much as possible. Cut a thin petal-sized wedge from 2 sides of each of your strawberries, and you'll need about 31 strawberry petals to make the flower. It might be a good idea to cut a few extra petals just in case you're having problems matching the sizes. Also cut the tips and make 6 to 10 small strawberry medallions and set the prepared strawberry petals and centers aside. Next, you'll need a waterproof pan such as this deep-sided pie pan into which you arrange the central flower. For a funny demonstration of the bloopers showing why I ended up using this pan, I have added a few clips of failed attempts at this recipe, which you can laugh along with me at the end of this video. To make the central flower, I think it looks best with 6 petals. The first step is to decide which size strawberry petals fit best for the center design. Then take a medallion and arrange the rest of the petals all around it. You'll notice that I place the outer part of the strawberry down on the surface of the pot because I want that to be seen when I take it out of its mold. Then I began to arrange the perimeter petals. I first placed the 2 petals and the central medallions so they were aligned along the outer rim. Then I placed more petals around the side rim to form the beginnings of 5 more petal designs. Repeat this until you've made all 5 perimeter flowers. As you can see, this arrangement will create 6 full flowers in the final design. The next part is absolutely critical to the success of this panna cotta cake. You have to place the pan with the strawberry flowers into the freezer for about 30 minutes. The pan has to have time to chill to have time to freeze onto the pan surface. When you're sure that your strawberries are well adhered to the pan surface, take them out of the freezer. In order not to dislodge the strawberries, as you pour in the panna cotta liquid, use the back of a large spoon and pour your cooled panna cotta liquid on top of the strawberries very slowly. I suggest you begin pouring at the perimeter to allow the liquid to flow towards the center so that the central flower is not loosened. Keep pouring in this way until you have poured all the panna cotta liquid into the pan. Then refrigerate for a couple hours or until the surface has become stiff enough for you to carefully pour the strawberry glaze on top. The next step, or the strawberry glaze, is completely optional. But since I had all the leftover bits and pieces of the strawberries I used to make the petals with, I decided to make the strawberry jelly glaze. I used the same recipe as I had for my cooked raspberry jelly and cake glaze. For your convenience, I will provide a link for the whole how-to video in the description below. I'd like to mention that when I was making this glaze, I skimmed off the foam that formed at the top so that the glaze would be a bit clearer. You don't really need this. But as I said, this glaze step is completely optional. You don't need it for the panna cotta. I just didn't want to waste the rest of the strawberries. When the strawberry jelly glaze was done, I set it aside so that it too could cool to room temperature. And when my panna cotta was stiff enough, I just simply poured it gently on top. But I only used half the glaze, and I poured the rest into a jar and placed that into the freezer for some other recipe. Your freezer jelly will keep well for a month or two if stored in an airtight container. When you have finished glazing the bottom of the cake, place the pan back into the refrigerator uncovered. Because this is a very large volume of panna cotta as compared to a single serving, it will take a bit longer to set fully. In fact, I had to leave my pan in the refrigerator for a full 24 hours. To remove the cake from the pan, I used a hairdryer to just get the frost off the outside of the pan. Then I put a plate over the top and flipped the cake over very quickly. I had a bit too much of the cream melt because I overheated the exterior, so please just make sure you're just barely getting the frost off, because the panna cotta melts very quickly with this kind of direct heat. Like my single serving lemon panna cotta, you'll find the link in the description below. This cake version is very delicate and has a traditional Italian flavor, just like my mom used to make. When you want to cut your cake, use a sharp knife and warm the blade. I hope you like this alternative way to serve this amazing, easy, silky, and satisfying Italian panna cotta that has ratios that are even better than most fat bombs. Enjoy! I'd like to thank you for watching this video and hope to see you next time. Now for the bloopers. First I tried using a springform pan, but as you can see, that was not waterproof. Second attempt, the silicone cake pan. The problem with this method was the strawberry petals did not stick to the side and the bottom of the pan. And when I poured the panna cotta in, everything floated around. Third time I almost had it right, but something was still missing. What I realized was I needed to put the pan into the freezer to allow the water in the strawberries to freeze against the metal of the pan and stick there. And this is the trial and error process I went through to try to get this recipe to work. And through these trials and tribulations, I finally made the recipe a success. The link to my blog that has the Keto Panna Cotta cake printable recipe and the link on how to make my cooked raspberry jelly and cake glaze, as well as the original lemon panna cotta that I used for this recipe, will be provided in the description below.